Hello to my Math 186 students. This is your instructor, Mrs. Thomas, and today I will be showing you practice problems from Chapter 4, which is called Percents, Ratio, and Proportion. Okay, so these are just practice problems, so they will not be the exact problems out of your book because I know that was for the fun of you actually doing your own assignment and having me grade it. All right, so let's get started. Okay, this section is entitled Percents, Ratio, and Proportion. The first step we're going to do is we're going to change percents to fractions and fractions back to percents. So first I love tables, fractions to decimals, and from decimals to percents. Okay, I had to get that down. Okay. So let's start with the first example. Now I'll do every other. Okay, I'll do the odd problems. Okay. So for number one, it has 8%. 8%. Okay. If I want to go and figure out what the decimal is going to be, the only thing you do is the decimal is always behind the last number. Even if you cannot see it, it's invisible. Okay. It's behind the last number. So you want to move your decimal 2 places. Okay. 2, of course, we're going left. Okay, we're going left. Okay. So 1, 2. So this decimal will be 0.08. Okay. You just move the decimal. That is it. Okay. If you're going from decimal to a fraction, it is how you would say it out loud. We talked about place values. I want you to think about place value in your mind. Okay. Tenths, all right? We talked about this last week in class. And this is hundredths. Okay. So this is 8 hundredths. Okay. So the same way you would say it, 8 over 100. 8 hundredths. Okay. Now you need to reduce your fraction. Okay. A number that will go into 8 and 100, I'm thinking 4. 4 goes into 8 2 times, and 4 goes into 125. So 2 over 25 is your answer. Okay. So that is your fraction. This is your decimal, and you started out with 8%. Okay. Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is 7 over 100, which is a fraction. If you want to go from a fraction to a decimal, you simply divide. Okay, you're going to put that in your calculator. 7 divided by 100 is your decimal. 7 divided by 100 is 0.07. So not too hard at all. Okay, if you want to go from a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal 2 places, and you guessed it, to the right. Okay, so if you are here and you move your decimal 2 places, that's 1, 2, then that will be 7%. And you don't have to put the dot, okay, or the point. Okay, very good. Number 5, we're just moving on along. Number 5 is also a fraction, has 4 over 6. Okay, you can either reduce your fraction or you could just put it in your calculator. Okay, we're going to divide. 4 divided by 6 equals 0.6 repeating. Okay, or a lot of students write 0.67. If you want to round, that is fine. If you wrote 0.67, or if you wrote 0.6 repeating, I'll know exactly what you are trying to tell me. Okay, if you leave it as 0.666666 repeating, then of course, when you move your decimal 2 places to the right, you will have 67. That's if you round. But if you did not round and you didn't know how to round, if you left it at 66.6%, I will know exactly what you were trying to tell me. But most students round up. Okay. The next one, that was number 5. Number 7 is 2%. So you have 2%. Okay. If I want the decimal, I'd move it 2 places to the left. So this will be 0.02. All right, the decimal is behind the last number if you cannot see it at all. So it's 1, 2, and then fill that blank space in with a 0. This is how you would say it out loud. This is 2/100ths. 2/100ths. Okay, so 2 over 100. And divide. 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 150. So that fraction is 1 over 50. The decimal is 0.02. So you get the picture. Okay, let me find one that has, I'm looking for one because 1 through 20 are kind of similar. So I'm looking for one. Let me make up my own example. Okay. Ms. Thomas, what if I have 1 and 3 over 5? What should I do with that? Okay, that's just an example, just in case. Okay, if you have an example like this, okay, well, the 1 is 1 whole, so you know that's going to be 1 whole. And then you just simply divide. 3 divided by 5 is what in your calculator? All right, 0.6. Okay, 1.6. That's it. That's it. That's all you had to do. Now, in order to go from a decimal to a percent, you move your decimal 2 places to the right. So this will be like 1, 2. So that'll be 160%. Okay, 160%. Okay, so far so good. I'm looking for any other examples, but that's about it. Okay, next we will talk about the percentage, okay, of one number is of another number. Okay, the is over of. Okay, when you see the word is, I want you to think equal. When you see the word of, I want you to think multiply. Okay, a lot of students talk about the is over of, as long as you know the is over of equals n over 100, but it already depends on how the problem is written. So for example, if you see one that looks like 21, for example, okay, 21 says what percent, and I'm gonna write that down, what percent of 60 is 15? What percent of 50 is 15? Okay, let's scoot that over. All right, so of means to multiply, and the is means equal. So I'm just bringing down, so what percent could be n, x, y, all right, of 60. I'm just bringing everything down, is 15. Okay, so if I see, of course, 60 n, I'm just writing it because I like to see my coefficient and my variable. Okay, I'm going to divide both sides by 60. Okay. And 15 divided by 60 is 0.25. Okay, so they ask about the decimal, but here it says what percent. So if 0.25 is a decimal, the percent would be 25%.